Hi everyone, thanks so much for signing up for my free video series on how to heal your diastasis recti. Let's get started with how to test for a diastasis recti so that you can check sort of the degree of your abdominal separation. Now there are ways that you can test this when you're lying on your side. I prefer to test when lying on my back because I find that it's just the easiest position to feel my diastasis from. Now my daughter is 3 months old at the moment, and I actually have pretty well closed my gap, and that was primarily from doing the exercises that I'm showing you during this video series, and also from wearing a postpartum girdle. I'll share a little bit about that with you later as well, and definitely just by avoiding certain exercises. So we'll cover all of that in this video series. Let me show you an easy way to test the extent of your diastasis. So grab a mat or just a comfortable area to lie. If you have a diastasis, be careful as you're getting down to the floor. So lie down onto your side and then roll onto your back. So you're just going to find a comfortable position with your feet and knees about hip distance apart, and just a nice natural curve through your lower back. Okay, so just lying comfortably. Now you're going to place your hands on the back of your ears. We're going to do a little exercise that normally we wouldn't do for diastasis recti, but this is just to test it. Okay, you're going to take one hand off the back of the head, and you're just going to place it sort of around the belly button area. You're going to lift your head and neck up, okay, to contract your abdominal muscles, and then I want you to put your fingers sort of vertically pointing straight down, and just feel, hopefully you can feel your muscles, your abdominal muscles. You're going to feel in between them, and this is essentially your gap. It's probably going to be biggest around your belly button area, where the most stretching and growing happen throughout pregnancy. Okay, it can be anywhere from right at the top down to right at the bottom. Okay, but lift up and just feel around there. Okay, now if there's a really big gap, like 3 or 4 fingers, that's a lot. Okay, we normally measure in finger gaps. You may want to consult with your primary healthcare practitioner before you get started on these sort of exercises. If it's 1 or 2 fingers, then that's probably a good level to be working on these exercises and starting to move it closer together. I still have a gap, and I probably always will have a gap, but it's what I would call, maybe not right now because I'm only at 3 months postnatal, but my goal is to get to being a functional diastasis. Okay, if you've had a really big baby or multiple pregnancies, or you've got quite naturally a small physique like I normally do, it can be easier, I guess, to get a bigger diastasis during pregnancy. And both my girls were very above average size babies as well. Okay, so I've actually, from wearing the girdle and from avoiding certain exercises and doing these healing exercises, I got down to a 1 finger gap right at my belly button level very quickly. I'd say the girdle had a lot to do with that because I didn't wear one after my first pregnancy, and I've noticed really how much of a difference it's made. So again, I'll share more about that with you later. And so if you can get your gap down to about a 1 finger level, as in 1 finger that way, down the center, then you're probably, as long as you're not having any of the other associated problems, then that's probably a good level to get to. If it does close all the way, then that's great as well. And it's probably just, around that belly button that you may still end up with a little bit of a gap at the end. But the outcome from doing these exercises and avoiding certain exercises, especially during the early postpartum period, is that the goal is to not be getting any related back and hip pain, not to be getting any pelvic floor or incontinence issues, and just to feel like your body is working and functioning effectively, feel like you're able to engage your abdominal muscles and maintain integrity in your core when you're doing certain exercises. Okay, so now you know basically how to test. If you've got any questions, just hit reply to the email that I send you, and you can fire off any questions that way and I can help you out. Now, in case you're wondering when to start on your diastasis recti recovery, the answer is as soon as you've been cleared from your primary healthcare practitioner. Okay, and you may be starting your basic pelvic floor exercises, drawing together in the initial weeks after the birth. Okay, you may be starting a lot later as well. If you're a lot further down through your postnatal journey, that is fine. The time to start is whenever you are ready to work on healing your diastasis recti. Okay, so yes, these exercises, this video series can still be effective, will still be effective several years after birth if it's your diastasis that you're trying to work on healing. Okay, now a few exercises to avoid. This is probably the most important thing that I think people need to be aware of. So things to avoid: any traditional abdominal exercises, which is why I said the position that we got in to test that diastasis, that is not the position that we're going to be in often for any sort of exercises, because that's the position where you do like crunches or sit-ups. None of those things are suitable in a postnatal recovery plan, and certainly not for healing a diastasis. They will be more likely to make your abdominals separate even further. Okay, so avoid traditional abdominal exercises like sit-ups and crunches, and any variations of those. Avoid plank position, okay, or push-up position until you can maintain integrity in those abdominal muscles. Now I'm 3 months, nearly 4 months postnatal at the moment, and I do not do full planks or full push-ups yet. And I started doing basic exercises within a few weeks after the birth, I guess. And I've kind of only just got to the level where I can do half push-ups, so like in a half plank position on my knees, and I can do about 10 of them. Okay, so that took progression too, just to get to that half plank position. I probably spent about a month just holding the half plank position before I actually started doing push-ups. Okay, because it's another level of strength that you need to actually be able to do the push-ups and maintain that drawing together of the abdominal muscles. Okay, so another thing to be careful of is yoga, and this is maybe a mistake that I made a bit after the birth of my first daughter, because I wanted to get back into yoga mostly for relaxation and for stretching and releasing. There are just quite a few postures that you really need to be careful with if you've got a diastasis in yoga. So any back bends really are going to be moving your abdominal muscles further apart. So things like upward dog, camel pose, bow pulling pose. Okay, those are all big back bends that are just going to open out. So they're all things that I have avoided still to this point in my postnatal journey, second time round. And as I said, I've closed my gap much faster this time and much more effectively by wearing the postpartum girdle and by avoiding exercises like these. Okay, I'm also still not doing any impact activities, so no running. I did do that a lot earlier on last time, but I did recover a bit faster after my first pregnancy 5 years ago, and so I was just doing light jogging. This time, no impact at all. I feel like I still need to work on my spine a lot more than that for that, and your pelvic floor muscles, just make sure they're properly healed before you're doing any impact activities. Okay, so just in a nutshell, the things to avoid are going to be anything like taking you through that plank position until you're really strong, so push-ups, plank and yoga, things like that. Any traditional abdominal exercises, crunches, full sit-ups, anything where the impact activities if you're not ready for those yet, and just anything where you feel like you can't maintain the integrity in those abdominal and your core muscles. Okay, the next video after this may have been the public one that you, well, it is the public one that's on YouTube, so you may have seen it already, and that takes you through the foundation exercises just to learn to activate your stomach muscles, your deep abdominal muscles again. Okay, so hopefully that gives you a little bit of an idea on what to avoid. Finally, for today, I just want to let you know that if you are doing an exercise and you see a coning in your abdominals, so that's where you see like that sort of triangle shape that shows I guess your insides are coming out the middle of your stomach muscles, then that's another cue that you should take whatever you're doing a step back again. Okay, so coning of the abdominal muscles is another big clue. So if you were to get into like a plank position, for example, and look down at your abdominal muscles, and if you see it making a cone shape, then you need to take it a step back. Okay, I know there's a lot of videos about how to heal diastasis recti on YouTube, and I've watched a lot of them, and I was quite surprised that quite a few of them do include like planks and stuff as healing for diastasis, because they're saying, well, the exercises you need to avoid are the ones like sit-ups where you're lifting your head and shoulders off the ground while lying on your back. And you know that may be true to some extent, but the reality is that most women with a diastasis who have recently given birth are not going to have the abdominal strength at that stage to be able to maintain the integrity while they're doing plank style positions. So I see that as a progression for much further down the track. So yeah, be really careful with those. So I hope that you've gotten, and sometimes I wonder, have they actually had a baby? Do they have a diastasis themselves, or are they learning from a textbook, or or are they actually using experience, or maybe they're just like amazing and their stomach muscles have regained strength really quickly. Anyway, I do think that those ones, you've got to be careful of them, and they are progressions. Okay, so thanks for watching this first video. I hope you've got a good idea now on how to test for your diastasis, what to avoid and what to watch for while you're doing exercises, i.e. that coning of the abdominals, which will tell you to take them a step back. Okay, next video we'll go on to the foundation exercises, which you may or may not have seen already on the public YouTube video. So yeah, I will send you that video shortly, and then we'll move on to some further progressions from there. Thanks for watching.